And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. From now until 5, we record live, and if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We're recording now, and later we'll post it up on YouTube, so you can come by and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, and that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. Also today, we're running 4 Internet SDR receivers, monitoring Rochester, New York, Atlanta, Georgia, Arlington, Virginia, and Milford, Pennsylvania, trying to get a better copy on our 100-watt friends. The audio of these 4 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also on this selector is our local receiver. And today our local receiver is running 2 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed north and south and the other east and west. The north and south mag loop can be rotated. They are selected by a 3-position rotary switch. Position 3 is a co-phase option that many times is 3 to 4 dB hotter than mag loop 1 or 2 by themselves. Well, those are our working conditions. How about yours? This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. And we'll try now to make contact with CHARLEY-K1GZL to bring us up to date on the weather and the band conditions. Charlie, got a copy?
Yes, beautiful. 20/9 direct. You're coming through direct from southern Indiana near Louisville. Beautiful, beautiful copy. We just had a snow shower. The cold front has just gone through maybe 30 to 40 minutes ago, and right now, of course, on this 22nd of November 2019, it's 3:35 p.m. here on 7188. And we were up to 40 degrees about 4 hours ago. We were up to 40 degrees, and that melted some horrible ice situation I had here. It was awful, absolutely awful over the last few days. Early this morning, I was working in VK3MO down near Melbourne, Australia, and unfortunately, I had 85% reflected power, not much power, but I was barely able to get through, so that was something. We had KN4 George Baker Zulu, Charlie, from Inverness, western Florida, north of Tampa. He was visiting VK3MO, and I couldn't load worth a darn with the conditions. So I'll turn it right back to you, Jim, and see how you are copying this afternoon. At this moment, the sun is just breaking out, but there are many snow showers ahead of west of us that we will be going through over the next few hours. We have an average of about 10 inches of snow, 20 centimeters of snow on the ground at the present time, leftover snow, that is, and we have really been under the gun here, and the storm on Sunday, we're going to miss most of it. We're going to get the northwest edge, and I don't think we're going to see much out of that one. Yeah, KC9VKV, K1GZL, and you're coming in like you're sitting in right in my Radio Shack.
Roger, Roger, Charlie. Well, likewise, sir. I'm on my magnetic loop antenna in the co-phase mode, and you're doing about 15 over at the moment. And you know what they say about the best laid plans of mice nor men? Well, I have now in front of me 4 Amazon Fire tablets. I finally got all my internet receivers in one location now. I'm running 4 Amazon Fire tablets, and I have them, unfortunately, 2 of them are set for a Wi-Fi router that's in the other end of the house, and I have 2 that are set for the router right next to me here, about 10 feet away. So, and I hadn't had a chance to actually check them out under fire, and I'm seeing now that my 2 that are set for the further router are not working too well. And I'm not, if I knew what the password was right offhand for the local router, I would crank it in. But unfortunately, it's sealed in steel somewhere, and so it should be interesting. We are running two for sure, Rochester and Atlanta, and Rochester has a tendency of bumping me off after about half an hour, but there is a second Rochester SDR that I can go to, which will give me another half hour. Outside of that, I'm not real sure how this is going. It's going to be an interesting afternoon, Charlie.
Okay, well, you're just pouring in 25 over right now, and here you are.
Well, and I'm not, if I knew what the password was right offhand for the local router, I would crank it in, but unfortunately it's sealed in steel somewhere, and so it should be interesting. We are running two for sure, Rochester and Atlanta, and Rochester has a tendency of bumping me off after about half an hour, but there is a second Rochester SDR that I can go to, which will give me another half hour.
So there you are, Jim. I hope that is coming through. Yeah, a very interesting thing occurred. Now, Charlie-K1GZL, he and, of course, you've talked to Mike, WA30, on the east side of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, at Monroeville. But Charlie is, a couple, 2 days ago, arrived down in Melbourne, Australia, and he's got a remote with him, and he was talking to me the day before yesterday in the early morning from VK3MO's QTH, and he had his remote, and he was talking live right to me on Ian's station in Australia. Then he went into the next room, and he fired up his remote in Florida, and the Florida signal was not quite as strong as Ian was, and then he came back in and talked to me directly from Ian, and it sounded like he was on the same station, so that was weird. But you're coming in great. KC9VKV, K1GZL. I'm glad you could hear me on the quad loops, or I mean the loops you have.
Roger, Charlie. I just flipped over and checked out Atlanta, and you're doing probably about a 10 over in Atlanta, but doing a much better job on my two Cophase mag loops. So that's what we're running right now. And that's amazing. You know, them folks with those remotes, they can go anywhere in the world and just, run the remote station just like they're being there. It's amazing, Roger.
Oh, yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible, the technology these days. It's just unbelievable. When you stop and think about it, Charlie, KN4GBZ, he had to take a 4-hour flight from Tampa to Los Angeles, then 16 or 17 hours non-stop from Los Angeles to Melbourne, Australia. And yet, instantaneously almost, you get on the air, you're talking 10,500 miles, and yet at the same time, you're hearing Charlie, and when he goes in the other room and gets on the remote, all at the same time. In other words, to show how remarkable all this stuff is, this radio is. All right, now if somebody was listening to me, as an example, talking to Australia, and they were about 80 or 90 feet away, 80 or 90 feet away from me, and could hear me talking, it takes about that much time for the voice to go 1,100 feet a second to go 80 or 90 feet, as it does for the radio wave to go all the way to Australia. Go ahead.
Roger, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. And, I guess it's just a great thing that we are living in the time that we are living in, because in earlier times, the electronics were not there, They were being developed. And I'm real happy to be in the time span of life, that we are in, Roger.
That's not technology.
Okay, yeah, that's absolutely, Jim, absolutely correct. And we're living in the time when everything is exploding from next to nothing. When you look back maybe 150 years ago, what do we have? Horse and buggies? And look at the technology now. It's mind-boggling. You wonder, how the heck is this possible? Go ahead.
Roger. Well, but it does have its ups and downs. Like I say, this Rochester SDR that I'm using, Rochester 1, I call it. It gives me a half hour, but then it gives me 20 minutes of that half hour. If I don't do anything with it, it says, well, inactivity, goodbye. So, gosh, some of the SDRs are really tough to keep up with. Now this number one SDR in Rochester's just kicked me out, so I guess I'll have to go to number 2 Rochester. But I don't know, it's a constant game, Charlie. You got to find some SDRs that aren't so persnickety, Roger.
Oh yeah, well the thing is, I guess they have their own schedule on how they want to allow the programming and not to overrun it. I don't know the way they set it up. The way they set it up, Jim, it's just it's mind-boggling. It's almost instantaneous when you consider the coverage, and you can go electronically from one part of the country to another to get an incoming signal. It's just it's exciting. It is an exciting thing. So, real fine. Well, Jim, look, I won't hold it any longer. There may be many fellows that would like to get their rigs tested out. But I'll tell you, miles apart, or a little bit more, directly there. This quad is not tuned up for this frequency. I'm tuned up for 7152. So I'm only putting out about 900 here. Normally I run about 1450 down where it's resonating. But I'm glad you can hear me. My SWR is about 1.9 or 2 to 1 up on this frequency. So Jim, I'll say 7.3, and here's a little bit more of your signal.
Crank it in, but unfortunately it's sealed in steel somewhere, and so it should be interesting. We are running 2 for sure, Rochester and Atlanta.
Okay, so I hope they will continue to work. Of course, we're in the shortest time, the longest days. So that means the skip is going to be getting out there, and it's going to be fairly hard here on 40 meters for you to locally, from where you are near Louisville, to get the short skip. Whereas, of course, the SDRs, well, you can tune them right in because they're further away and not skipping over on the shorter skip stations that would like to talk to you. Okay, 73, Jim, and thank you so much. And if I'm not iced up, I'll try to see you next week. Boy, it's been terrible for a few days. Awful conditions here with the ice we had. Awful. Yesterday, good heavens, it was impossible. KC9VKV, K1GZL, Clarksville, northern New Hampshire. We are clear, and I want to thank you very much for picking me up.
Roger, Charlie. Thank you, sir, for participating. Always a pleasure. 3's up that way. Stay warm. This is KC9VKV on the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. My name is Jim, KC9VKV, and I'm better known in some circles as Dr. VKV, but I can't say exactly in what circles those are. But anyway, we are recording now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. This is KC9VKV.